welcome to Growing Deeper Daily on Holy Saturday. It's the day between the events of Good Friday and the hope of Easter Sunday. Last night we talked about afresh the work of Jesus Christ on the cross, how he has died for our sins, how when he said it is finished, he completed his work of love for all of us, and that he offers us the opportunity to know him, to find forgiveness in him. And on the events of Holy Saturday, there's not a lot given to us in the scriptures. We have some in Matthew 27 that tell us what the religious leaders and what Pilate was thinking and doing on this day. It says in verses 62 and following, it says, "The next day, that is, after the day of preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered before Pilate and said, 'Sir, we remember how that impostor said while he was still alive, after 3 days I will rise. Therefore order the tomb to be made secure until the third day, lest his disciples go and steal him away and tell the people, he has risen from the dead, and the last fraud will be worse than the first.' Pilate said to them, 'You have a guard of soldiers. Go, make it as secure as you can.' So they went and made the tomb secure by sealing the stone and setting a guard." Sealing the stone, setting the guard. It is this visual attempt by Pilate and the leaders of that day to finalize and to make sure it was permanent, the death of Jesus. Remember, they're nervous here in the text that the body will be stolen, that a great rumor can be spread that he has risen from the dead. And so there are these final earthly attempts to double watch what happened, to make sure there's an eye on that tomb. Why? Because death seems so final in this moment, and they have to ensure that a lie and a conspiracy can't pop up around it. You know, death must have felt very, very final as well for the disciples on this day. We don't know much from the scriptures about what was going on in their mind. It's often called the silence of Saturday, the day in between the death and the new life and resurrection of Jesus, where death around them seems so final, where the work of the evil one seems to have triumphed. What was going on in the mind of the disciples? We don't know. We could think in our mind some holy conjecture around this day, but we can imagine that there was sadness and great despair, great guilt as well. We'll talk about that in the resurrection appearances in the coming weeks on Sunday morning as we see the various disciples responding to Jesus and his resurrection, really revealing for them in their own life how they were processing Jesus and the loss and the shock of his resurrection. But the silence of Saturday is a reminder for us to sit with this truth that death often seems so powerful and nothing else can be said. You know, this last year in our country, it's been a reminder to us, hasn't it, of the prevalence and the power of sickness and death. And Holy Saturday is this reminder, this challenge to sit with the silence of living in between Good Friday and Easter. To recognizing in the world that we live in, there is still brokenness, there is still sadness, there is still death, and we don't want to push aside or make light of that ever. But that also, as God's people, we should start to look ahead to resurrection. Holy Saturday, the silence of Saturday, we sit with the stench of death, but we're always believing and hoping and looking forward to what's up ahead. So today, as you sit and wait, reflect. Don't push too fast past the events of last night. Remind and recall and meditate on the work of the cross and Jesus' death. And as you sit, perhaps even in your own personal silence, a time of waiting, of dealing with pain, of loss, of sadness, of death, bring these things before God in honesty. Talk through them with the Lord. Process them with the Lord by faith. But as followers of the Lord, if you know Jesus today, keep your eyes open for the dawn, hoping, believing, trusting that God brings about new life, that resurrection is just around the corner. That's what I love about the events of this Holy Weekend. It's seated in reality. The pain, the suffering, the sadness, but also the hope that's coming. Do you believe it? Today, wrestle with that tension, and tomorrow, get ready to celebrate the new life, the resurrection life that comes through Jesus.